Let's continue on the concept of namespaces and let's take a look at partial classes to put it into perspective. So here you can see I've got my form class and I'm creating an instance of that class, and then I'm calling the two different methods here. So let's go over to the my form class over here, which is this window here, and you can see this is a separate file. Notice that the namespace is my app, which matches the namespace here in the program file. It doesn't have to, but we made it the same. If the namespaces didn't match, we would have had to use the using statement here, which is also fine. But let's continue with this. So here you can see I have declared my form class, but notice it is a partial class. So concentrate on the word partial, because what partial class allows you to do is declare a class not in its entirety, but over multiple parts. That's why it's called a partial class. So in this version here, in this file within my form, what we're doing is we're adding a method called show. All it does is writes the title and then prints a message to say the form is shown. But as you can see, the variable title is not defined anywhere here, so it's not there. And if we go over to this file over here, my form designer, and you can see that we do have the my form again. We have the namespace my app. So here we had my app namespace and we had my form here as well. So this matches. And notice again the word partial class is being used. And at this point, you probably realize we are declaring a variable called title of string type, and it is public. You can see that it has a method called welcome, which is being printed here by the right line. So this variable has become available because it's declared in a partial class. So it is able to access the variable declared in a completely separate file, but still under the same namespace and still under the same class. And then you can see that the method within this one, this is setup UI, and UI setup is done. So how this all gets put together is when you create the myform instance here using new myform, it will combine the two files, and it will combine the myform class partial class here with the show method with the partial class here and the setup method, and also include the variable. So this could all be declared in one class, but if you want to separate your code out, so different developers could work on different parts of the code. The reason I have called these myformdesigner.cs and myform.cs, if you come from a Windows form development environment, you probably notice that Microsoft themselves within Visual Studio create the sort of structure where partial classes are being used to build up a full class. That's why within the designer, you can set up, for example, the UI elements and where to place them. And the code behind file is this file over here, which does some extra things. So those are partial classes, and that's how Visual Studio is able to put together a form that's in two different files. In designer, you design the user interface, and then the code behind it, the back end, is where you write the code here. So this could be the front end, and then this is sort of the back end of it. So that's how you select your classes. But notice how namespace plays a big part within here in order for this to work, because the namespace has to match, and of course the class name has to match as well. If the namespace was different, then this wouldn't work. So if I had, for example, my app1 in here, you can see suddenly we are getting errors here, and you can see these file names have turned red, saying that the name title does not exist in the current context. So that means is it cannot find it under this namespace. And if I could change the namespace over here to my app, and then this suddenly works. So I hope you understand the importance of namespace, partial class, and what it means. It allows you to select your class out over multiple files if you wish to, or even separate them out in one file.